Hello. It's your boy, Chris Blue. Nice to meet you. It's been a week. What the fuck did I do with my voice? What it do? It's your boy, Chris Blue. So, like I promised, I split this video into two parts, so here's part two. If you want to check out the previous video where I gave my opinions on the first half of the Sonic Forces soundtrack, feel free to check that out. Please, I beg of you. Without further ado, let us continue, shall we? Now, before we proceed with the main story, I think it's only fair that we take a little detour into the prequel of Sonic Forces, Episode Shadow, which honestly just consists of remixes from Shadow's whole anthology. So, why don't we take a listen, yeah? First up is Enemy Territory. It's quite literally just Sunset Heights with Shadow, but I'm going to ignore that and just go straight to the music. It is a remix of Westopolis, which is the first time I think we actually got a remix of Westopolis, or really any reference of Westopolis. Maybe it was a bonus track in Sonic Generations, but I honestly don't remember. It also mixes a little bit of Radical Highway, which I honestly fucking love for this. Mixing both of Shadow's first stages for this track was honestly a pretty genius move. Of course, this is a remix, so instead of it being like a hard rock track, it's more of a drum and bass track, kind of like the rest of this soundtrack, but honestly I feel like it's more fitting for Shadow. Side tangent, I see a lot of people complaining about how Shadow's music in Sonic X Shadow Generations is like EDM styled. But honestly, Shadow is an artificial light form, so I think artificial sounding music kind of fits the vibes for him, wouldn't you agree? Hey, that's just me though, that's just my opinion, Solid remix. Next up is Eggman's Facility, remixing Rhythm and Balance. And I ain't even gotta say much, I'm not even gonna hold you. This is one of the best remixes possible for this song. Like, it's just perfect. This remix is actually really simple compared to other remixes, where all they really did was add guitars and clear the vocals, making them sound less distorted than they did in SA2. And that's really all they did. And I couldn't have asked for anything better. The song was already pretty genius back in SA2, and with minimal effort, they killed this track. In a good way. They killed it in a good way. I love this. Absolutely brilliant. I honestly prefer it over the original. And lastly, for Shadow's campaign, we have Virtual Reality, remixing Supporting Me. Now, opposed to its original version that had a more mysterious, kind of eerie vibe to it, this one's just more, harder, I guess. Is that the right way to put it? Heavier. I was thinking of the word heavier. That's what I meant to say. Anyway. It starts off grungier before going to the drum and bass style, before hyping you up like a rave, and then slowing it down to hit the chorus. I really like how they did the chorus in this version. They didn't immediately start out with the live and learn motif, but they brought it in the second way around, which honestly, I love the sound of it. It was really good. Another big difference is that the lyrics for the first verse of this song is actually used at the end of the chorus, accompanied with a pretty fucking sick beat drop. I'd say my only complaint is that they don't really use the second part of the song of Supporting Me. They pretty much just keep the first verse on loop. Regardless, still a solid remix. It still doesn't beat the original for me, but I definitely prefer it over the original Generations DS version. Guess we'll have to see whether it beats out the Generations X Shadow version that comes out later. As we return back to the main campaign, we have Set in Motion, the theme for Guardian Rock. Okay, I feel like not many of you are going to get this reference, but why does this feel like this belongs on an One-chan-bara soundtrack? Don't believe me? Look at this. Weird tangent aside, the music is very upbeat and positive, whereas the lyrics are very uplifting and motivational. It's like the song is expressing the growing confidence of the avatar. I'd say this track is the most poppy out of all of them. I know a lot of people will be turned off by the autotune, but again, it reminds me of One-chan-bara, so all I do is laugh, really. I mean, I might as well get it out of the way because it is part of the same level, but Death Crab Pursuit is just a Sonic Frontiers boss theme before Sonic Frontiers. It's alright. Next up, we have Network Terminal. Out of all the Sonic stage tracks in this game, this actually ties for second of my favorite, along with Luminous Forest. They just keep going strong with the anime protagonist vibes in this soundtrack, huh? The main stinger for this track is the synth, the bass, and surprisingly, the drums. Take a listen for yourself. Whoever's on bass did phenomenal. And again, with the anime vibes of the soundtrack, just check out the chorus, it's amazing. Now, unfortunately for this track, it is yet another victim of the Arsenal Pyramid problem, albeit not to the same degree. Like Arsenal Pyramid, this stage is split between an exterior and an interior, and the exterior takes 45 seconds. Quite literally right before the chorus hits. This game really didn't need two completely different tracks for an exterior and interior of the same level. They could have just did what Persona 5 did and just have like an alternate version of the exterior's level for the interior, you know? You see what I mean? It would transition seamlessly, and the music wouldn't go unnoticed. I don't know, that's just how I would think of it, honestly. Ah, fuck, I forgot to talk about the interior. Okay, slight correction from my previous tangent. This song does kind of feel like an interior version, like an alternate version of the exterior track. This time, instead of it being a synthy rock kind of track, it slows it down for a more groovy and funky kind of track.
So funky.
Stop that! For any good funky track, you gotta have that bass, and boy does it sound good here. This track is just a vibe. It's, once again, one of my favorites. We return to classic Sonic with Death Prison, the theme for Death Egg. Gotta say, I'm not sure if it's because my ears are deteriorating or if I think that the classic music is getting slightly better. I don't know. You tell me. Maybe I'm finding the value in the song because I'm listening to the melodies rather than trying to listen to the instruments themselves. I actually really like it. It's like, it gives like this feeling of like wandering into the unknown, you know, even though this is like, what, like the third or fourth time they rebuilt the Death Egg? This track feels like it could have been the final level for classic Sonic, but it isn't. So, you know, it is what it is. Oh, I should also point out that there's a key change in the song too that also sounds really nice. I mean, take a listen for yourself. But yeah, I'd say this track is pretty solid. Nice going, classic Sonic. Next up, we have Metropolitan Highway. Wait a second. Isn't this just a whiter version of Grand Metropolis? Instead of the more rock-sounding tracks that Sonic has been having, this one goes for a more trance vibe. And I don't know what it is, but it makes it feel like I'm about to watch a Six Flags commercial. It's just so fun and happy sounding that if you were to listen to this with no context, you'd have no idea that they're in the middle of a fucking war. It is a really nice track, and I suppose it fits the setting. It just feels like it was put in the wrong game. Like, if there was a city level in Sonic Dream Team, then I feel like this would be perfect. Regardless, it does give this futuristic city vibe, so hey, it works. I like it. Solid 8 out of 10. The next stage we have, or at least part of a stage, is Null Space. This track just feels so eerily empty. Like, remember those end of the world levels from Sonic 06? It feels even more empty than that. Like, it's not even that the world is ending, it's just empty. Null and void. For a little bit longer than 15 seconds. This could have been an amazing level concept. Just walking through this empty space with nothing, just trying to find your way out. But instead, it's quite literally just the opening for a double boost segment before you're back in the city. Regardless of missed potential, this track is so eerie and ominous, it fits perfectly with the emptiness of this stage. The choir, mended together with the slow, rhythmic piano, is just absolutely breathtaking. It's just fist bump again.
The sun is falling in the sky beyond. Light is fading from our world. The sun is falling in the sky beyond, and light is fading from our world. Now's the time of reckoning. The final battle has begun.
Next up, we have Fading World from Imperial Tower. You know, the irony of this song is not lost to me at all. The lyrics say light is fading from our world while the literal fucking sun is hanging above our heads. I know it's symbolic and all, but great job, Sega. I really do love the vocals as well as the tone they set for this track. It really does feel like a last-ditch effort, do-or-die mission. If we lose, then everybody dies, and the rest of the world is subjugated under Eggman's control. But if we manage to stop this crisis, then we have a chance. A chance to set the world right. All bets are on you. You are the last hope of this world. This song is climactic, what else can I say? While I'm not the biggest fan of the beat drop in the song, it's alright, I can deal with it. But the vocals are what I'm really focused on, and I love it. Nice track.
Together we'll bring back our home. Trust in those you stand beside. Believe that we can win this war.
Time for reason. Show them mercy. Go hard into battle. Show them what you got.
Next up, we have Mortar Canyon. With the second sun gone, Sonic rushes onward through Eggman's base in order to put an end to the war. The story is reaching its climax. Oh, thank God, I'm finally reaching the end of this shit. I know this game is full of synthesizers, but I feel like it fits here because Eggman's all about electronics compared to Sonic's being more, natural sounding, I guess. It feels climactic and hopeful. We're no longer despairing over being made into fried chicken, and now it's time for our counterattack. The song starts off more electronic, though it still keeps the rock drums because this is a modern Sonic level, but as the song goes on, it introduces more piano and string instruments for more orchestral flair. I really do like this track. It feels climactic and it hypes you up. It's very fitting for the final level. What do you mean this isn't the final level? But anyway, yes, I really do enjoy this track. Now then, I guess we have to move on to the remainder of the tracks. Hopefully the next one is good. Alright, round 3, our final showdown with Infinite. Unlike the previous two iterations of Infinite's battle theme, where they were just slight remixes without vocals, while this one is still a remix of Infinite's theme, it couldn't be more different. Ditching the EDM and synth practically entirely, we're going full Mad Orchestra with this one. And as a madman myself, I gotta say, this is one of my favorite kinds of orchestras. Infinite's not looking to toy with you this time. He's going full tilt. He wants to end you. And this song reflects that. This track is absolutely breathtaking. I can't get enough of it. This is my favorite version of Infinite's theme, aside from the original. This track sounds so climactic, it feels like it belongs in a movie. It's a shame that the boss fight was just Metal Sonic 2.0. Still, it's very fitting as the final boss of this game. What do you mean this isn't the final boss? Anyway, I really like this track. It kinda reminds me of the boss themes that we would get in the 2000s with the whole orchestra and stuff like that. I say it's really fitting, I really like it. Now, if only I could say the same about the next level I'm about to review. Up next, we have Iron Fortress. I don't know about you guys, I don't like this one. I don't like this level at all. Not just the level, I don't like the music either. It's not even that it's bad per se, it's just boring. You're boring me. This is supposed to be a final level, super climactic and stuff like that, and it just bores me. I don't know, I don't got much to say got much to say about this level. I just don't like it. Final level? Okay, good. Alright, we're here on the final level of Sonic Forces. Before I get to the song, can I go on a quick tangent here? I love how the story makes this feel climactic, but the level is just a glorified quick step segment. At least for the first half. I mean, for Christ's sake, it's Eggman's base, the final level, and it's a fucking cakewalk. Like, seriously? Alright, done ranting. We're here to talk about music, so let's talk about music. I do like this track, although I will say it feels like the track for like an ending cutscene, like right before the final battle kind of cutscene, you know what I mean? I mean, it's not a bad stage theme. I really like it. It just gives cutscene vibes, you know what I mean? Anyway, I really like the strings and the brass on this track, and I really like how the drums really pick up around the halfway point. Really makes it feel like this is the final stretch. Personally, I feel like this track would have been a great way to cap it off, a rousing finale to the story. Now, notice how I said would've. There's one more track after this. So you mean to tell me that the last track was called Last Judgment, and this track is called Final Judgment? I feel like we're reaching Attack on Titan Season 4 levels of redundancy in titles here. In all honesty, I don't really care for this track. Like, it's okay, but I prefer the previous one better. It has a sense of urgency, sure, but so did the last one. Like, I don't know. Maybe I've just had enough of techno for today. Then again, I suppose this level, or at least this part of this level, takes place in a reactor, so I suppose it fits. I don't know. It's short, snappy, gets the job done, but that's about it. We have finally made it. The true final boss of Sonic Forces, and it's Eggman again. With the Phantom Ruby now fully charged, both Sonics and the Avatar must face off against Eggman's new Mega Death Egg robot. Okay, they seriously couldn't have come up with a more original name? A cool thing about this boss theme is that it's actually separated into 3 parts for each character. Starting off with Classic Sonic, this is the worst version of the theme. If I'm being perfectly honest though, this is actually not that bad, because while it still has like the Classic Sonic sound font that they've been using throughout this game, they also added like actual choirs that actually makes it sound really menacing. It's actually really cool. And then this hits you. Now it's the Avatar's turn, and without that crappy classic sound font, this song brings menace to a whole new level. To me, this doesn't even feel like it comes from a Sonic game. This feels like the final boss of an RPG. And not just any RPG, a JRPG. This track makes me feel like I'm about to fight God for some reason, even though it's just Eggman. What adds to this is that this track doesn't even feel like a hopeful one. This feels like a desperate struggle, like an oh shit, if we don't be careful, this is gonna kill us type of track. It somehow feels even more hopeless than when Sonic was fighting Dark Gaia before he went super. Regardless, I love this track. The choir, the orchestration, feels like cinema that I'm about to be watching. You know, even though it's definitely not. What I'm saying is that this feels like a prelude to the final boss. Which is kind of fitting because... Holy shit, this slaps. This is probably one of the best final boss music for Sonic. I'm not even joking. The guitars wailing, the brass, the strings, the drums, oh my god, it's just, this is some peak right here. I heard that originally Otani was planning to have an orchestral version of Fist Bump to play for this boss, and I am so glad that he didn't. This song feels like the power of friendship personified, and I dig it. This track is absolutely amazing. I love it. I love it so much. Even though I was just fighting the Nega Wisp armor again, this song made it worth it. And so, we reach the end. We end Sonic Forces with one of my favorite tracks, one of my favorite ending themes in Sonic games, Light of Hope. Before I really give my thoughts on this song, I wanted to read something real quick. This was Tomoya Otani's commentary on making this track. He said, "Although I've written many songs in the Sonic series, this was my first time to write a ballad ending. I also wrote lyrics in Japanese, and the atmosphere is retained in both language versions. When I heard vocalist Amy Hammond perform the very first take in London, I knew the song would be wonderful. Listening to the Miura Strings perform Eguchi's arrangement for the first time in 9 years was also amazing. I particularly wanted this song to begin playing from the middle of the event scene." From that, this song, in a way, it doesn't even feel like a Sonic song. It's like I said in previous tracks, this song sounds like it belongs at the ending of a movie. It sounds like the song that plays of like a veteran coming back home from war, which I guess is kind of fitting for this game, huh? This track was absolutely beautiful. Had I not absolutely hated this game, absolutely despised this game, I probably would have cried at this song. For Otani's first ballad, this was absolutely breathtaking. I love this. I'm running out of words. Also, hats off to Amy Hanman because her vocals are absolutely beautiful. If I'm being perfectly honest, this game does not deserve this soundtrack, not one bit, because the story is all over the place, it's goofy, it's dismissive, it's just... The only reason that this song would fit is because of the whole war motif, and it doesn't even feel like a war, honestly. This song feels like a classic Disney movie, or like some kind of home movie or something like that. Motherfuckers be playing this after the COVID pandemic. And thus brings a close to the so-called meta era. At the very least, it kind of felt like we ended off on a high note. In hindsight, maybe this song was also about Sega talking to us Sonic fans. Like, don't give up on us yet. We got some plans for the future. We're cooking up something. And lo and behold, they did. And they're still cooking to this day. Like I said before, if there's any positive that I can spin of this game, is that the soundtrack was really good. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed my possibly controversial takes on music. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of the soundtrack and what you thought of certain songs, and which one was your favorite. With that, I leave you with this. Take care, everybody. See ya.
You